Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Steve, welcome back to Friday at 4, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well, Chuck. How are you?
I'm doing good. What an interesting week it's been. You
Oh,
know,
good. A good, interesting, I hope.
good interesting week. I wish I was more productive, but I was pretty productive with what I want to accomplish. And we'll get into more of that after the call. I want to talk to you about it. It was interesting, what I've been doing this week. So yeah. Well, let's
Good.
dive to this topic. I really like what you come up with. I think this is a good one. It's again, as I mentioned, I think this is a nice rabbit hole we could go down with something called mindset, right? So you were throwing around this thing about mindset, right? So what are you telling yourself, right? What are you telling your job that you're in, your business, your family, your relationships, right? So let's go ahead. Let's get started and dig deep into this rabbit hole because it's a good one.
Yeah, I think, um, and again, let me preface this real quick. I am not a psychologist, psychiatrist. I'm none of that stuff. I don't have any degrees.
I
So,
think it starts with
and
psycho.
I'm not. Well, let's not go there.
Let's not go
But
there.
um, but this is all experience and
Yeah,
stuff that I'm doing, and part of the company I'm in, they have a training once a week on mindset.
that's
And
nice.
the real high level of mindset, again, from a non-technical perspective, is what you tell your mind you end up doing
Yeah,
over. If you tell your mind something over and over and over again, that's what you're going to do over time because you're trained. Like if you go to the gym and you train with weights, over time, your muscles, in theory, should get bigger. Maybe your stamina because you're on a treadmill. So you're training your body to go in a certain way. Maybe if you change your diet to eat healthier, to lose weight, to gain weight, whatever your thing is, you're training your body a certain way,
mhm,
repeated, consistent effort, impact, or whatever it is.
yeah,
But that same logic holds true for your mind.
mm,
Your mind over time will do what you tell it repeatedly to do.
mm,
And the mindset repeatedly ends up turning into what we commonly call habits. So, what habits do you have? What are you feeding your mind? One side says, I'm feeding it all really good stuff. The other side says, I'm feeling it really bad stuff. What are you feeding your mind? And again, those will become habits that become part of your daily life. So, do you want to be a good person, a bad person, somewhere in the middle? I'm not
we're in
so
the middle.
sure, you know? So, for example, you have a job or even a business. Are you telling yourself repeatedly that your business will be good, regardless of what it is today? It will be good. Okay, it will be good. Now, what steps are you taking to make it good? Because just saying I want to be rich doesn't mean I will. I want to drive a certain type of car doesn't mean I will. What steps am I taking? What am I putting in the brain so it takes the actions to get what you want? And I
Yeah,
guess that's the simplest way. So, in a business, like I'm in a business, you're in a business. So, when I go see a client, what am I doing to, number one, show up to that client in a certain way? Do I dress a certain way? And the mindset of dressing that way, the mindset of speaking that way, the mindset of listening, not always talking like I'm doing now, right? But you got to listen. But what mindset are you training your brain to show up and do the best for, in my case, a client for my business?
yeah,
Do I know my stuff? Am I practicing? Am I practice what I'm going to say? Am I doing research that I represent a number of different companies for services that I can help a client with? Am I training my brain to continually do the research on those companies? What are they offering? Do things change? The minimum, the maximum, all the different types of documentation. Train the brain so that when you go through that whole transaction process with a client, excuse me, excuse me, you know what to do, what to say, in what order. Excuse me, something's wrong with my voice. But what are you doing to, again, train it so it becomes natural? You show up with a client and they know you're reading a script. So, for example, we have a very short 15-minute, 7-slide PowerPoint. Very basic, no products, no sales pitch. It's education only. But the mindset initially says, take my computer screen, split it in half. Half is Chuck, half is my script. And I'm reading it to make sure I don't make a mistake.
Hmm.
But then what happens if my computer doesn't work or I can't pull up the script? So now the mindset says, stop relying on the script. To read it, rely on this.
Yeah.
Mindset, I can do it. I will take the steps to learn it. I will practice it. Mindset, over a little bit of time, I will now look professional in front of that client.
Yeah.
Mindset. So I'm going to switch back to you for a second. So get ready, because I know this is not scripted for everybody in the audience. This is not scripted.
Right.
When you go in and you look at a business, you didn't go in, at least I think, you didn't go in on day one, I'm the greatest. I'm going to get these results. I'm going to be a superstar. You had to practice. You had to learn. You had to repeat. Do you make mistakes? And I'm talking to you in general. Do you make a mistake? Is it okay? Keep going. To enlighten us a little bit. What was the high level process? You didn't go in on day one. What'd you have to do to get to that point where you are today?
Glad you mentioned that because last month's episode, after I filmed the last third part of that, the third business, the business owner happened to be there. And I think I mentioned this, that I actually got a chance to talk to the business owner,
Hmm.
and I failed. In my eyes, I failed miserably because I wasn't ready
Hmm.
for it. Um, I don't think what I said really stuck with him or resonated with him, because I sent him an email and he still never responded. Although he responded positively to my speech when I talked to him, and my speech was more about him and the business than what my business is and what I do. It's more about the findings and how I do things for that business. I don't think it's stuck. And I walked away feeling not satisfied, you know? And I immediately thought about what you said. And I was in my car driving thinking, what kind of mindset was I in? I was hungry. It was early. I ate food. My stomach got full. That was a very big breakfast that I ate, and I was like very satisfied. So, was my mindset not really focused on presenting the best that I could for the information? Probably not, right? But then I'm assessing myself, right, to see what kind of mindset that I had doing that, right? Because I was more on, let me get this done. I'm more undercover when I do this, because people, I talk about this, people need to realize that when I do this show, I'm really more undercover than I am talking to the business owners about it. I do all that after the fact. But again, like you said, right, I got to get in that right mindset before I even walk in to know that what I'm doing and without getting caught. I don't want to expose myself, you know.
No.
So so yeah, to your point, it's been, from years of being a mystery shopper, running a mystery shopping company, it's got me to this point to where I can pretty much go in anywhere and not get recognized for what I'm doing. People know who I am. Like I got caught when I did one in Pennsylvania a couple of months
Mm.
ago. And as soon as I walked in, she come walking out and says, "Hey, Charles." I'm like, yeah. I'm glad you're here. Oh, it's me. Oh, yeah, I watched your videos.
Well, good that she watched the video, and bad that she knew who you were, and now you couldn't be
Yeah,
undercover. So, okay.
exactly. And that's what I told her. I said, "Well, I guess I'm not going to get the undercover shop today." She said, "Nope, not today. You're not." So yeah, so it took me a while to get to that point, right?
Yeah.
To understanding, and I think I mentioned this before too. When I first started understanding how to talk to business owners, I would pull up from a restaurant because that's all I did back then was restaurants. I'd pull up, sit in the parking lot, be afraid, and just drive off. I wouldn't even go in.
Right.
And the few times I did go in, the gatekeeper said, "Oh no, they're not here. No, there's no owners here." And I knew that was lies because business owners are they're pretty much 23/7.
Great. Yeah.
23/7. You get it. There's an hour somewhere where they're not doing it.
Right. Right.
But then I realized there's other ways to reach out to people. And if you learn the different ways, right? Again, mindset, right? So I had to sit in the car, I had to get the mindset right. I finally got myself together. I go in, fail. And as I sat at home and said, all right, I got to figure out the other way to do this. And the other way
Mhm.
was email web forms. Worked perfect. Worked
Got it.
perfect. So yeah, I think it takes a while to be able to pull something like this off, right?
It does.
It doesn't
But
happen overnight.
no,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It doesn't. But
Yeah.
that's the whole idea of mindset.
Yeah.
You're not going to, and again, I don't mean you, I'm talking general. You're
You
not
can pick on
going
me. That's fine.
to, I'm sorry.
You can pick on me. That's fine. Yeah. Point it
All right.
out.
In that case, no.
Yeah. Right. Go for it.
But the odds are the first time we do something, it's not going to be the ideal best us. It's not going to be the best presentation. It's not going to be the best end result because
Yeah.
everything is practice,
Uh-huh.
mindset, practice. You're not going to run a marathon the first time out. You
Yeah.
practice. I
Yeah.
practiced talking before I talk to my clients. I practiced and rehearsed and researched and memorized. You did the same thing. You were in the car. I'm going to go in. No, I won't. I'm going to go in. No, I won't. Yes, I'm going in. Didn't do a good job. Came back out, went back in. It's the mindset of how do I continue to do and continue to do better? So the mindset is it's consistent processes or actions over time. That's what gets people going. That's the mindset. Do the 10 push ups every day consistently. Run the half a mile every day consistently. Memorize the script every day consistently until you know it. It's that consistent positive action.
Yeah.
Now, again, you could say, I'm going to be the best that I possibly can and practice every day. Be kind to people, talk nice to them, hold the door open for somebody, all the positive actions that end up becoming who you are. And that's what people see.
Yeah.
Or you could sit there and say, Chuck, I don't like you to your face. I don't like you. Could walk open a door, walk in, let it slam behind me, and the person behind me hits the glass door instead of the open door.
Yeah.
What what things are you doing consistently? How you're training the brain. Again,
Mhm.
habits. Are the habits good? Are the habits not so good? You have total control over your habits and what you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So in work, are you making, depending on what your thing is, let's say you're a restaurant, are you making the orders on time, high quality? Are you letting them slip?
Yeah.
Um, with a client, are you giving them accurate information on time? How many times do you say to them, that's a great question. I don't know the answer. I'll get back to you, which is a good response. But how many times can you do that before the customer says, you know what? You don't know what you're doing. I'm not doing business with you.
Yeah.
Over time, You learn the information. Over time, you do better when you go into an establishment and help them like you do. Doesn't happen overnight. It's
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
consistent, repetitive actions that you're taking.
Yeah.
That that
I was going to wait for you to finish. I don't want to cut you off, but
no, no, go ahead.
I think I wanted to say it because you had a good point. Starting at home, let's say I'm a business owner, I own a restaurant. I got into
Mhm,
an argument with my kids this morning or my wife or husband, and my mindset's not that right. So I get my car, I rush to the restaurant, open the door. There's a leak on the floor. Now the day's getting worse. Two
mhm,
people are showing up late. Place opens. I got customers coming in. They're dragging. All those things are snowballing. So your mindset's now not focused on being the best
mhm.
boss you can be.
Right.
So now your reviews are showing it because now your
Mhm,
customers are seeing that kind of attitude coming out. So now I'm at the point where I can show you your reviews through my Star Performance Index snapshot. And then hopefully you can reflect that to say, man, I remember that day. I remember
mhm.
what happened. My mind was not 100% there because I had all this stuff at home. I come to work, had problems going on, and my customers actually saw it. Man, that's horrible.
Yeah,
Now, how do I fix that? Right now, that's something I have to focus on is to keep your mindset sharp, knowing that you can't have these things unfold minutes, daily, hourly, weekly, whatever, because then it affects the bigger picture, right? And that's what I want to hit real fast because I know where you're going with that thought. I want
yeah,
to say that real fast because everything can snowball from your personal life to your
yeah.
professional life to your customers.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
Now, I spent, as a lot of people know that have watched these before, I spent 32 years in corporate and in the IT space, specifically on the quality assurance, which means somebody codes a program, we test it to make sure it works. So you go to a bank, the ATM works, you buy stock, you buy the right amount, and all this stuff. But part of the whole process is, to your point, what happens if something does not go according to plan?
Yeah.
So everybody says things are going to work great. I'm going to roll out of bed on time, um, shower, dress, have a great time with my kids and my spouse or partner. I want to make sure I'm politically correct. Spouse or partner. And you go out and you get to your job or your business, and everything works well, and all is hunky dory. But reality says not going to happen all the time. So it's easy from a business perspective, harder from a personal perspective of, can you figure out some different scenarios that if things don't go according to plan, how do you handle those? And that's part of the mindset. Are you single threaded that it'll be good, it'll be good, it'll be good? And if it's not good, you crash and burn? Or it'll be good, but I'm prepared if A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J go wrong. You'll never think of all the possible scenarios, but as many as you can think of, how do I react if there's a leak on the floor? How do I react if one of my star employees or employees doesn't show up? If my order of something today didn't show up and now I can't service the customers, how do you get your mind to think, how do I react? How do I react? Because, like you said, you want to be the best that you can because a review that's posted is seen by others.
Yeah. Yeah. I had an incident today that you and I mentioned, I talked about. And, after lunch, when I sat in the car, my daughter said, just take a deep breath, Dad. Breathe in deep, relax. It's going to be okay. And it worked because she had to tell me
Mm,
because she saw how red my face got when it happened. And she was
mm,
like, uh-oh, you know, but she knew because she knows how I am. She knew something wasn't right. That's
mm.
not Dad. There's
Right.
no way. And once I looked at what I did, oh, my stupidity, you know, but it took me a couple of hours
Mm,
to really get out of that OS mode, oh shit mode, like, man,
mm,
I really messed up. But it was just a simple fix, but I still let it linger because that's
Yeah.
who I am, right? Because Chuck doesn't mess up. I don't want to mess up. I want to be perfect, and nobody's perfect.
Nobody's
You know,
perfect.
we're no, we're always going to make mistakes. But if I would have learned to just let my mind settle a little bit after it happened and just relax, I just kept thinking about it, because that's what I do. And I beat myself up too much. And that's something I'm working on changing is,
Mhm.
look, it was a simple mistake. Gotta just keep moving forward. Forget about it, you know? But it was so hard for me to do. And I'm still like that today. And that's one of my big focuses, is keep that positive mental attitude going, you know?
So, first off, nobody's perfect because things change every day, some in your control, some out of your control. So, you
Yeah.
can't plan for every single thing. The next thing is if something happens, try to the best that you can not to make that same mistake again.
Mhm.
Again, nobody's perfect. We all learn. And all we can do is the best that we can. And if
Yeah.
the mindset is trained, again, like I said before, if I do something and it works, great. If I don't, what are the possible things that could go wrong?
Yeah.
You're not going to think of
Yeah.
everything, but the
Right.
3, 5, 10 things that you do think of are probably the majority of things that could go wrong. Excuse me. And if you plan for them, then you're less likely to have that meltdown and you're more likely to say, okay, Mr. Customer, I opened 10 minutes late. I apologize. I'll give you X off your bill or something to make it, this way they'll be okay and they won't remember it and write a review or a bad review.
Right.
But it's all those little things, how you deal with yourself, how you deal with a customer, but it's the consistent actions. And keep telling yourself, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Um, and there's all kinds of things. I say it to myself all the time. There's things I'd love to do differently, and I actively work on doing certain things. I'll pick one thing a week or one thing every 2 weeks, and I'll work on making that one thing that little bit better. And over that 1, 2 weeks, I've now been consistent and formed a habit of I won't make that same mistake. That's what I do.
Yeah. The mistake I made today, um, it was just all about timing.
Hmm.
Because what I do is very, me, I'm very structured. That's how I
Mhm.
run my business, how I run my personal life. Everything is structured. I do things a certain way. I don't like to stray off of a routine the
Hmm.
way I like to run my day.
Okay.
And I don't like to leave the house. If something happens out here and I'm in a bad mood, I walk out the door. I
Hmm.
try not to let that carry with me.
Mhm.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it lingers, and then you'll meet somebody, you'll talk to somebody, and boom, you'll get out of that and you'll forget all about it. But I try to make sure that things are a certain way. And this certain way thing that happened today was that there were out of my control that some bills fell on the same day.
Hmm.
Had, they came out of the bank account on the same day that I wasn't used to. And it
Mhm.
happens, you,
Yeah.
you look at your account and go, oh, what happened here?
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you know. And while I'm not used, that was a very uncomfortable feeling because I'm not used to being in that situation. It's
Mm.
happened once years ago at my first business when somebody hacked my account and took all my
Oof.
money. Yeah, that was
Mm.
talk about stress.
Yeah.
But the bank I worked with, they fixed it all. It was fixed in 2 days. I was able to pay everybody. It was good. But this today was an oddity. But it all worked out
Okay.
because I made it. I figured it out. It worked. It took me less than 5 seconds, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew what I had to do.
Yep. Yep. But
But that mindset of letting it linger for hours just it's not good.
when you, as a again, general statement, when you start letting something bother you, and again, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but to let it linger for hours, days, weeks, you're telling your mind, I'm being preoccupied and I'm thinking about it so much that I'm training the mind. The mindset is make the mistake, think about it, be upset. And it's very challenging to then turn that back around to the positive side of, okay, it happened. How do I handle it next time?
You know what I did? When I walked into the restroom, I looked in the mirror and just laughed. And it worked.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, I laughed. Yeah. Because it wasn't that serious of a mistake. It was just I didn't have the money in the account. What am I doing? And it happens,
It happens. It happens to all of us.
But yeah, it just I'm just one of those people that lets things fester a lot like that sometimes. I gotta learn to just go like, oh well, walk away and be done. Focus on something else.
So if something bad happens, fix it, and then focus on whatever it is, something positive. Focus on something that just happened that worked well.
Yeah,
Focus on the next appointment, the next client, the next something. Take your focus away from what just went wrong,
right.
even though you fixed it, and then shift the mind into something else. So you're not putting a lot of attention to it. And
Yeah.
over time, that will train the brain to say, okay, made a mistake, fix it, done, move on.
Yeah.
Takes time, but it works.
Yeah. There's this app on my phone now that I don't know if I think it's in something with Apple. There is a part where it pops up twice a day. It's in the early afternoon that says, how's your day going so far?
Mm.
And then the early evening is, how has your day been?
Ah.
And I answer it. Well, my daughter was playing the game on my phone earlier, and she turned around and said, uh-oh, Dad, here you go. It popped up in the middle of her playing the game. It's this puzzle game we play to keep our minds sharp, and we play it
Mm.
together. And I laughed at it and said, oh, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? Not pleasant. Why were you not pleasant? And I listed the things in there.
Hmm.
And then, I laughed about it. And at that point is when I said, you know what? I think this is when things will be good now. I told what, like my brain registered what happened. And actually, put it in the app about how I felt to think now I can get
Hmm.
past it, because now I realized that it was such a trivial thing that happened and everything worked out. Keep moving, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a real life example of how your mindset can absolutely hold you back. In 1992, this is a true story. In 1992, for those of you who are old enough to remember it, um, unlike me, I remember 1892, but different discussion. Um, but in New York City, World Trade Center Tower 1 was bombed. And I was on the 78th floor, and it took me 2 hours to walk down, blah, blah, blah. Um, and I worked for a major bank, and they said, go to the nearest building that we have, because they're all over. And they said, go to the nearest place and stay there until you feel better, and then we'll figure out where to go, because you couldn't go back into the trade center.
Sure.
And about 2 weeks later, I'm in the building, this new building, and something happened, and it triggered the bombing from 2 weeks earlier. And I went off the deep end. And I volunteered to go see someone. I went to go see a psychiatrist one time, one time, because within 5 minutes, I was able to express what the problem was. And as soon as I was able to say it, the thought went out of my brain and I was fine. But the mindset for those 2 weeks, even though it was sitting all the way in the back, the mindset for those 2 weeks was, you can't do this, you can't do this. And what it really came down to was when I was going down those 78 flights of stairs. Yeah, it was nasty. Um, in the pitch black with smoke coming up, all I kept thinking of was, I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna
That's
die.
what I
Yeah.
was gonna die. I had just bought a house. We just had our second child, and I thought I was gonna die. And for 2 weeks, I could not let that, even though I was out of the building, I could not let it go. And then when I spoke to the psychiatrist, in those first 5 minutes, she said, okay. And she asked me a couple of questions, and I was able to express that exact statement. And as soon as I said it, it released and the brain just let it go. And I've been fine. So the mindset can work for you or against you.
Yeah.
So if things are good, keep them going. Keep thinking positive. When things are not going well, really sit back. And this is not an easy thing to do, but sit back and think, why is it not going the right way? Is it something that I can control? So then I have to change it. Or is it something that I cannot control?
Yeah.
I cannot control Chuck. So if I'm not happy with Chuck, I have two choices. I can either tell Chuck, I have 100 choices. I can either tell Chuck, hey, this is what's going on, but I can't expect you to change because you're you. Or I can walk away from Chuck and forget him and move on without him. And then that whole piece of my brain of being frustrated, upset, and all those things goes away because Chuck's no longer there. So, what can you control? What can you not control? Control the controllables. And yes, I got that from somebody in my company who did a training last week.
Control the
Con-
controllables.
Control, because the way he phrased it was, if I am the problem, I am also the solution.
Ooh, nice.
If I am not the problem, forget it and walk away because you can't change it. I can't change the weather. I can't change Chuck because Chuck's Chuck, and that's okay. But if you can control it, then I'm sorry, if you are the problem, you are also the solution if you want to be. And that's the mindset. Again, the positive, consistent actions to do the positive things for you, for those around you,
Yeah.
personal, business, whatever. That's
Right.
that's mindset. And whether we think about it or not, most of us don't because we just live our daily lives, and that's cool. Me too.
And we're so
But
busy, right? Yeah, we're so busy and wrapped
yeah,
up in everything. We tend to
we are.
forget. Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
It does happen.
Yep.
But we have to step back a second. If we're so there's really again two sides to that. If things are going well, that's awesome. But what can we do to make it better? And
Yeah.
whatever that means, okay? What can we do to make it better? If
Yeah.
things are not working so well and we want to, what can we do to make it better? Again, if we want to.
Yeah.
But we do have complete control over our actions. And again, if it's I'm the problem, I'm the solution. If I
And you know
choose
what I have
not,
control over?
mhm,
516-727-2294.
smooth
Steve
way
has a
then,
lot
Chuck.
to
That
say
was good.
about mindset, boy.
That was good.
That's good,
And
right?
that was good. That was good. And for Chuck, it's 410-935-6132. But let us know if you have any thoughts. That was really good, by the way.
Right.
If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, want to talk about it, want to be a guest on the show,
Yeah.
click on that QR code. Um, get to Chuck. Let us know. By all means, come on. We'll answer your questions, whatever you want to do. As you've seen in this episode, this is not scripted. Okay. We have a
Obviously.
lot of fun,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. And
and
Steve, I got to tell you, man, that's what really kind of flipped in my mind to say that I am a good podcaster because I used to be able to control my guests very, very well in the early days
mm,
when it was just voice only. And it was hard, right? Because you
yeah,
can't see the person. This
yeah,
is so much easier because I see you. It's easy to wrap it up and go with it. But when you're
mm,
only voice only, man, it was
yeah,
a challenge,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
I did it very well.
You did, you did.
I was good at
And
it.
and by the way, for everybody out there, Chuck and I have been doing this almost 2 years. We know each other. We talk afterwards. We're good friends. So we talk back and forth using each other as an example, but it's just for examples for the show. We really do get along. So, okay.
Yeah, this is really cool, yo. Steve, you know what, man? I tell you, another good episode. Like I said, we could go down this rabbit hole way deeper than
Yeah.
we've done. It's such a psychological and what is it? Psychological and I don't know the other terminology for it, but it's such it's it's amazing what we could come out of this episode, what we could talk about with each other
Mhm.
and with guests and people we know, about this topic, and it can go deep because
Yeah,
everybody's
it could.
different, Yeah. So
Good.
another great episode, man. I
Yep.
appreciate you coming on. Appreciate your time. Have a
You
great
too.
rest of the Friday, and have a great weekend.
You
And
too.
I'll catch up on the next episode.
And it's
Steve,
4 o'clock somewhere.
yeah, man, you got us. Like Steve, on the end of this Friday at 4 because it's 4
It's
o'clock
4 o'clock
somewhere.
somewhere. Can't get away without saying that. So,
No, we cannot. You got it. Steve, great conversation, man. Great podcast. Talk to you soon, buddy.
you got it. Thanks. Take it
See
easy.
you.
Have a great
Take
weekend,
care,
everyone.
Steve. Take care, everybody. See you.
Bye-bye.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.